Coming out of Central Virginia, our favorite, well-named Mexitonk band, they just released their self-titled debut album, and here to speak on it is none other than Miss Ramona Martinez from Ramona and the Holy Smokes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, John Carter, and howdy, everybody.
So we're going to be honky talking today, but I first want to make sure these folks know who you are. So we just released our self-titled album, Ramona and the Holy Smokes. You have a ton of inspiration from your South Texas roots, Tejano. You play in a lot of classic Western, taking influence from what I saw. You could even pull back from the 40s with Western swing, right? But a lot of 50s, 60s inspiration. I'm curious, for you and the boys, where did y'all, or specifically you, where did you really start with this? Was it family? Was it band and choir? Did you just listen to a random band that inspired you one day? Where did it start for you?
Well, I've been a musician my whole life. My parents were the kind of, we had the kind of household like she must take music lessons until a certain age. And I'm really grateful that they did that. I grew up actually listening to everything but country. I think my family did not grow up listening to it. My dad, even though he is, I think, second generation from Corpus Christi, like via Monterrey, Mexico, but he didn't grow up listening to Tejano music. He liked Selena. I knew who she was, but that what he was more into like Motown. Like I grew up listening to a lot of like Aretha Franklin and Marvin Gaye and the Temptations and like all that stuff more so. And when he was in a band in 1968, that is the kind of 10-piece band he was in, like more of a soul style band. And then as an adult, I was a double bass player growing up. And so I got recruited to play like all kinds of genres, and I got recruited into a bluegrass band in my 20s. And from
Okay.
there, kind of like got introduced to like classic country, starting with like Hank Williams and Johnny Cash. And I already knew who Patsy Cline was. My dad and mom both really liked her.
She was kind of universal. I don't know. She was kind of like Selena in a way. Like everyone
Yeah,
just kind of knew about her.
exactly. And also too, she's so jazzy, like her later stuff. And it was such a pleasure for me as an adult to go back and like dig deep into the genres because Patsy Cline's early stuff is so honky tonk. And like most people don't get to dig that deep, into it. And I think that's like one thing that I really have appreciated about the Holy Smokes, the boys in my band, Kyle Unkilduff, Brooks Hefner, Jay Oipron, and Porter Brawley. They are all music lovers and all brought their favorite country artists to the table. Like I wasn't listening to any Waylon until I met these boys.
Mm.
I know, like I really was just more like in the Lefty Frizzell was a big influence for me in my songwriting. Definitely like early Patsy Cline. Williams, of course. But yeah, they brought me to the 70s a little bit. I'm still not like I'm not gonna listen to Graham Parsons probably. I just find him a little too cerebral. Like I need some dance beat to my country a little bit, even if it's slow
Yeah.
step, you know?
That's what I
So
was about to ask you. And by the way, everyone listening, I have not prepped her on these questions, so you can't judge her harshly. How would you separate country music and honky tonk music?
ooh, that's a great question, and that's something that we've been thinking about when talking about this album. And my guitarist Kyle had a really good explanation for it during an interview once that I really liked, which was that honky tonk is kind of like anti-establishment. It's like it sort of exists outside of the I don't want to say like commercial part of the industry, but kind of like it's more I don't know, like I feel like honky tonk can exist. It has a better chance of existing outside of industry centers in music in our genre. There's just something about it's like a little punk, a little like we're doing that ourselves, a little bit also like I mean like I think like drinking and bar culture and like heartbreak. It's like a little more on the sleeve in terms of like the raw elements of what it means to like live this lifestyle. I don't know. Does that make sense? It's kind of I don't
No,
have
I
like
think
the
it
clear
does.
answer,
You
but
actually have me thinking because so how I've always told people the simplistic part of it is like the difference between rap and hip hop. Not all not all rap is hip hop, but all hip hop is rap. And hip
right.
hop is the dancing ability to rap. If I'm a rapper, I don't have to make music you can dance to. The message
Hmm.
is just there, take it or leave it. Hip hop,
Yeah.
you have to be able to dance to it, right? It's the same thing with other, like we used to have swing bands, and I mean, people can still do it, but swing clubs aren't a thing anymore. We're
Yeah.
blessed to still have honky tonks. And something you just said now made me realize I need to add to it, because honky tonks are a cultural hub, and they're one of the, like, our country dancing is one of the last living traditional dances. I mean, even you look at like Tejano and Norteños, like they have traditional styles, and
Right.
they do traditional styles in the bars, right? However, if someone were to say, "Hey, I need you to do traditional polka, do a traditional cumbia," they would wear traditional garb that you don't just walk around in the street in, because they have a much longer history than we do. And so honky tonk music isn't just, the honky tonk genre isn't just dance. It's another step deeper to say, yeah, it's like not anti, like mainstream, but yeah, like anti-establishment.
Yeah.
Like we don't care if you want to listen to us or not. We're here to dance, and we're here to be in the bar. It's like tied to the culture specifically.
Yeah, I think
Country
that's
doesn't
right.
have to.
Yeah, totally. That's a really good distinction. And the dance thing is, I mean, like people sometimes if they haven't heard us will email and be like, "Can you play dance? Is your music like danceable?" It's like, yeah, like every single song is a dance number. That's the whole point.
Well, that's people right now. That's what I don't know if you're one of like these artists that I have a lot of artists that tell me I'm big on subgenres. I'm kind of weird in that. I probably shouldn't, because as a music critic or whatever you want to say, someone who loves music, I shouldn't be as into subgenres as I am. But I don't see subgenres as a way to oppress, as if I was a producer. You know, like if I was in Nashville and I was a producer telling you you're not going to make it as this genre, I think that's oppressive, right? But for me, I see it as, growing up as a farmer, I see it as pinning these people. So, for example, if I were to hear Ramona and the Holy Smokes, who the hell is that? And then they're like, oh, it's a honky tonk band. I'm there, right? Or it's
Mhm.
this subgenre. Okay, I don't know who they are, but I love that subgenre. I'll go. But if you're like, oh, it's pop country, that's the thing too. I'm weird, and I say pop country is country, because if we don't qualify it as country, people are only going to play the moral superiority card, and then they're going to have to make people like you compete with Morgan Wallen, and y'all are not on the same plane in the sense of music. Like y'all do
I
not make the same music, and that's okay. Like there's room for everyone.
I also feel like pop country is country. I mean, what else would it be? I don't
And
know.
the thing
That's
is
country.
too, why would we not want it? Do we want Morgan Wallen's money to go towards another like group of people? You know what I'm saying? If people want to represent country, maybe I'm in an old school mentality, but country's not cool, and I'm okay with that. Now it's popping, you know, we're in the Renaissance, but like we should accept people as they are, but there is expectations with it. But my thing is, I feel like too many old heads are just like, this isn't country. And it's like, okay, then give me the
Yeah.
boundaries. I don't know. Okay, then you can't argue it. Just keep them in their pin over there. You know, like keep them over there. We'll be in the honky tonk, right? Because they don't know how to make a two step. They don't know how to make a polka, because they don't watch dancers. They're in stadiums, and we'll keep them there. You know, let them just stay over there, and we'll worry about ourselves. But I digress, because the one thing, what's funny, you mentioned, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, where does your punk side come from? Like you
Oh.
have such like an attitude, and I don't know, like I would say outlaw, but it's, you have too much of a punch in what you say. Like, did it come from drinking the same water as Loretta now out in the Appalachians, or is it
Oh.
just those South Texas roots?
I'm not really sure. I think like the whole band is kind of punky, especially our drummer Porter was a punk rock drummer for a long time. They say country western's like the retirement program for for punk rockers. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
heard that before, but
Bluegrass is the metal of country.
that's awesome. But yeah, I loved, I mean, I'm not going to disclose what kind of punk bands I liked growing up because they're embarrassing. I think I always loved like Zeppelin. I love the Doors. Like I love all these like classic rock bands from the 60s and 70s. And I used to be in a classic rock cover band in high school called the Pinks. And I
Oh,
would
come
like
on.
practice in front of my mirror for hours, like getting like the stage like mystique, like down. And like I think performing is something I've always loved to do. And I've always loved to like, I want to be, like a stage. I don't have a stage persona, but I want to show up as like the most confident version of myself. And I think when I write songs, I can be like tongue in cheek and still honest or
Mhm.
whatever, or like sad songs are a little bit different than the more like satirical or like in your face, like, fuck you kind of songs. But yeah, I mean, I think there's just like it helps. It's healing for me to find my voice, both as a performer and a songwriter.
Mm.
And so I feel like going there and allowing myself to go there is like not just important for me, but also for other women in this industry. And honestly, like people of all genders have said like the way that you like speak your truth and like and say things that like I know I've experienced, like it helps people kind of like reflect on their own relationships, their own lives, their own ways of being with others. And like that's my whole goal as a songwriter. You can't really ask for more than that. So
Yeah. Do you ever grow up listening to Paramore? I mean, that's kind of like an obvious question, but
no,
oh
I
my goodness.
know.
Because I don't know if you've ever been compared, but I genuinely don't know anyone else in the scene that would represent Haley Williams as much as you do.
That's a very nice compliment. I really appreciate that.
Like I feel like you definitely have that presence and that type of that punk mentality that and it's not again, it's I hate saying attitude because I feel like that in a way is like saying a guy has an attitude and a gal has an
Yeah.
attitude. It
Yeah.
kind of when you say that about a gal, it's like, but genuinely, like I say it positively, but the way she carries herself and the way you carry yourself, I feel like very similar. Like I would not be surprised if y'all connected instantly if y'all met.
That would be
Um,
sick. That would be awesome.
in everything she does. Speaking about subgenres too, again, you don't have to have an answer to everything, but
Okay.
Donnie, our mutual friend Donnie Cutler, and I have always had this conversation, and I'm pretty sure he has an answer for it, but I ask any artist that plays honky tonk music because Western music has always confused me. I'll tell you too, growing up, I was raised in a town of less than 3,000 people. Country was everywhere. And I was raised in a household where we did not listen to secular music. It was always like worship,
Yeah.
or we'd have a couple of bands like talking classic rock. My dad, his guilty pleasure that he let us listen to was Rush and Hall and Oates. Mom was ABBA, you know. So and really musicals. She loved those as well. But I wasn't raised with Lefty Frizzell. I wasn't raised with any old school classic country, right? And
Yeah.
so when I see bands that are honky tonk, we have what I've seen as you have Western swing and you have Gillies. So you have people like Braxton Keith, clearly honky tonk. You, clearly honky tonk, dancing music. However, those two are very different as well. You have the Austin, Texas scene versus the
Right.
Fort Worth scene, right? And so I'm curious with you defining Western, how would you define it? Because I have only been able to describe it to people, and I've started putting it in that sense of like traditional because obviously back in the day, Western was simply either Western swing or cowboy songs. But now it seems that the Western scene has continued that, like you were kind of saying, like persona in a sense that I don't think is bad. I think it's a very good thing, which I don't like using good or bad, but y'all prefer nudie suits. Y'all prefer fringe, the hats, that no one casually wears those hats anymore like they did in the 50s, but it's a specific aura that y'all carry. And to me, the traditional side, that makes it like a Western honky tonk, right?
Mhm.
How would you, if you can, put Western or define Western in the sense of also honky tonk or
I don't
Western
know.
compared to country as well? Sorry, country and Western. You know what I'm saying? How we say country and Western
Yeah, yeah, like compared to like
Mhm.
what's the western part compared to the
Of
country part?
country. Yes.
I mean, I don't know that like I am making or any of us are making like choices based on like a how do I put it? Like a meta
Hmm.
understanding of western. It's more like when we started, I mean, we were super inspired by like the Texas Troubadours and like the Buck Owens covers of them with the Buckaroos and their outfits. And we were
Hmm.
just like, we have to do this. And we could just afford like a white shirt and a black shirt. And we did that for 3 years until we started like adding more shirts. But yeah, like, I mean, and we always wear cowboy hats every show. It's just something I think here in Virginia, it's so out of place. Like, that is not part of our culture here. And so people are like, "What?" And they're more likely to like listen to us kind of in a way. Like they'll walk into a bar and go like, "Oh, like look at this," and then hear us. And I think like we're kind of ambassadors for Western culture, even though we
Hmm.
aren't really that connected to it and like personally, like geographically speaking, but
Mhm.
like have a deep appreciation for it, like as a band. Now, as
Mhm.
far as what it is, I don't know that I can tell you. I mean, beyond like there's the fashion element to it, right? There's some honky tonk bands that don't dress like that, that maybe aren't as rooted in like the 40s and 50s. I mean, people like I think we have some songs that lean more Western than country, but it's yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know that I can really like tell you what I think it is.
Well, like say that about you is because I feel like you could put a standing bass
Mhm.
or classic Western instruments in your band, and it would not be weird. Like it wouldn't be out of place. Now, again, mentioning names, even Zach Top's type of honky tonk music, putting a standing bass in he would
Right.
kind of have to go back to his bluegrass roots, right? He'd have to go more acoustic. When I feel like he and a lot of the guys now who do honky tonk music, they do more the gillies, the like cowboy Texas scene instead of the
I hear what you're saying, like
yeah.
more Waylon and less like Hank Williams. Yeah.
You get it. Yeah, I feel like the outlier going towards rock and roll kind of changed it. Y'all are more towards swing and even parts of jazz in it. That
Yeah,
blues mix.
definitely. We do try to lean into the 70s like Drunk After Work was probably our most like on the album most like 70-ish inspired song. But yeah, we definitely like my songwriting is definitely, you know, 50s, 60s inspired. We're trying to change a waltz I wrote into like a 4/4 truck driving song now.
Yeah.
So we're trying because we're like, oh man, all these honky tonkers got this like outlaw like drive-in rock thing going. Like we got to keep up just a little bit.
Hey, that's what I love. At least you're able to recognize what a waltz is and other styles, of 4/4s and knowing that because a lot of bands they don't grow up in honky tonk, so they don't know that difference.
So that's like why I mean, I did like Argentine tango randomly for like years and then started learning to two-step just on the road with people that we met at shows. Knoxville has an incredible scene. New York has great dancers. Baltimore has amazing dancers. And then going to Texas finally after like being pretty decent at honky tonk. Oh, John Carter. Oh my God, I was in heaven on earth. Man, that was so great.
That's what I'm trying to do, and that's why I love being able to talk to folks like you is being able to connect all of that, and that's what I'm going to get into. But before I do, I kind of still want to have a funny question so folks can know you more. Speaking of that punk, how does our boyfriend decompress after hearing some of this music and that calm rage you have through very smooth lyrics? Does he like?
Oh, my
Does he have
current
a
boyfriend.
way he
Oh
does
my.
it? Or does he's like, I know what I signed up for. He's like, I hear what she's singing
Oh.
about and I don't take it personally.
Oh, John, you stepped on a landmine. Oh God, this is a okay. Let's the current boyfriend who I've been dating for 3 months. And it's
You have to
uh
walk him through the lyrics and you're like, hey, this was inspired by this or this was here.
oh well, he actually like he has my lyrics printed out. He's like we took it like really seriously. He's like, I want to
Yeah.
like take the time to like take this in and some of the songs he read he's like, oh my God, Ramona, like that happened to you. I'm so sorry someone treated you like that. But the album is I was talking to my friend yesterday, it's four different heartbreaks in the album,
I can feel
but
him.
but the way that the songs happen to come out is they can apply to multiple relationships because unfortunately I repeated the same patterns over and over again.
As we
um
do.
yeah. So the album is kind of about like all at least the love songs are about like wanting something to work out, really trying to make it work, like hanging in there, but you kind of know it's not gonna work. And then some of the songs are like, I'm out of it. I'm not doing this again. And then you're back in it again. And like the Drunk After Work is about being stuck in that cycle of drinking every day after work. Down and Out is about being stuck in the cycle of being completely broke and not being able to see outside of it. All of the songs on the album, and I didn't realize this until the album got put together and we had to write PR about it. I was like, oh my God, all of my songs are about this, like kind of like needing to come to the emotional truth of a situation. And
Hmm.
like the song is like reckoning with like, oh man, like here I am and like I've got exactly what I wanted and I'm so miserable.
Such is life. Such is life. But That's what I love, though. And I think you'll look back on it and you probably already appreciate it, but I think you will more in the future. That's actually what I love coming out of the 70s and the outlaw era was that a lot of these guys and guys, everyone, their albums were like phases of life. So like Hank Jr. specifically, like you can see everything of how he changed, going from the clean cut guy talking about like he kind of wants to be like his dad, and then he finally made a breakthrough and he's like, you know what, I'm not living in the shadow of that man. And then he kind of does his thing, and then he has a ski accident and he changes it even again, but he keeps like his life progresses, but he keeps calling back to that one point
Yeah.
where he's saying this thing. And so you can tell kind of what's going on in his life just by each album.
Hmm.
This happened here, this happened here. And that's, I feel like, how it should be as a singer songwriter, is that people, even if you don't tell them, they can tell what's going on with you. And they might not know what time it happened, but they know when you produced this album, this is the phase, the chapter that you're closing. And if every album is like that, unless somehow everyone is relating to it so well, it's going to become old really fast. So
Sucks forever.
we're going to make the same song every time. But I just wanted to joke about that because I've never been in a relationship with a singer songwriter, but I know that's that constant joke of like, man, these like, especially in country, like these female artists, like how do their spouses handle, especially I would even say the wives of some of these guys. Like that's what I love with Waylon's Way More Blues, of like getting to
I
sit there and sing the
know.
song right to her. And he's like, let me look over here. He looked her dead in the eyes and laughed. It was like,
Oh,
man, I
damn.
don't know how they handle it. Moving more again back to you and the music, you were talking about states, you were talking about where you play and how it affects. I'm curious, what states have you played in? Do you have some favorites? Do you have some bucket list? And on top of that, we'll start there. Let's start there. I'm not gonna drop questions
Yeah,
on you.
of
Let's start
course.
there.
Well, we tour about as far west as Knoxville, far south as Texas when we can, down to Houston. We didn't make it to Dallas and Fort Worth area or San Antonio this year, which is very sad, but next year I hope we will.
You don't need to go to
Uh,
Dallas. You can just come to Fort Worth.
okay, great, perfect. And then we got to go to like Louisiana. These are places like we hit on our summer 2 week tour last year. But then normally we're in North Carolina quite a bit, Asheville, Triangle area. We get up to Baltimore, New York a couple times a year. We're going to South Carolina for the first time this month. So basically like mid-Atlantic up to New York, down to South Carolina soon. We got a pretty big region, and we have like multiple markets that we try to like visit. Like Chapel Hill is a big one for us that we love playing at, and there's a great scene there. And just like I think our strategy as a band is to grow regionally, and
Mm-hmm.
that seems to be like a really good map forward, and building a strong fan base here. And as far as bucket list goes, I mean, I just want to play in Texas. I promise I'm not sucking up to the people in Texas by saying that, but it's true. It's so cool to see so many people just like who know the music, who appreciate what we're doing, and can dance their asses off too. I'm just like, "Ugh, you guys are so hot. How do you do
Well,
it?"
that was my follow-up question, is like in these regions, do you notice a better response to people on the dance floor and a better connection to your music? And do you have actually any preferences in region? And clearly, I know you just said Texas, but I also know there's some like, is it Skinny Dennis in New York,
And that's a wonderful
Queens?
place to play. We love
Like,
playing there. Yeah.
I just know there's like great dancers everywhere, but I'm
There are.
curious to what you see. And if it's Texas, then great. But I just want your like words on what you see. Do you see people connecting better? Do you see people that you prefer watching their dancing?
No, I would say like so I've mentioned Knoxville and New York as two really strong dance communities. Baltimore is another one. I love to dance in different cities because I learn different things every time. That's how I learned how to two-step, was dancing at shows that we played at. And I wouldn't say that like I guess Knoxville, for instance, we've been there like since we started going there 2 years ago, like 7 or 8 times, like a weird amount of time, high number of times. And it's because the people there really, really like us. And we were like, wow, like they just kept inviting us back, and we would play at we played at this dive bar there that we had never been to. It was like all college kids, and they loved it. And we were like, where are we? Like this is like, this is so cool. So yeah, I mean there's different pockets. Like Skinny Dennis is amazing like that too. People walk in and have no idea what they're gonna get, and it's an honor for us to have people stand there because they've seen a lot. And it's the same in Austin too. Like they see really good, the best of the best country western acts come through these bars and play. And to have their attention to the point where they decide to get a drink or two or three watching us is like it's an honor and a huge compliment. That's, you know, why we do what we do.
Yeah, that humility, that's huge to be able to recognize that. And I think that's a lot of people don't, they kind of think I'm overreacting when I defend the honky tonk, but I don't know another place that every weekend will have live music, should have live music, drinks, and a dance floor. You know, we used to have swing clubs, those are gone. So it's like all you got is honky tonks that do that. You know, you have live music at beer gardens and other places and concert venues, but you can't really dance at those and it's not promoted there. But in a honky tonk, you're kind of expected and it's more than welcomed. You know, again, it's expected that you show the band the effort they put into their music. You should put that into your dancing so that they can enjoy it just as much as you. And that's what I love down here, you know, like Little Red's Longhorn Saloon, where they have that Western swing. And I mean, they'll play everything, but they they like to mess with the dancers, especially with polkas. They love building the speed up and slowing it down and just seeing how people react. I have learned a valuable lesson. If the older folks step off the floor, you probably should too, because they know what's coming. And one time I got sucked into like a 7 to 9 minute polka, and these old folks would not let me quit. And again, my dance partner and I, we were both collegiate athletes, and I'm not joking. I started tasting copper like halfway through the song, and I was like, this is a workout. And by the end of it, I was like collapsing. My quads were gone. And because they got to the point where it was literally like the polka beat got to a point where I have a video of it I've posted.
I think I saw that of you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
It was literally like I had to, we normally take long strides. We had to
Oh,
literally move an inch at a time. And by the end, I just like the old folks were waiting on the side, our regular group, and they just like hugged us at the end. And I'm glad they did because I like collapsed into their arms and I was just trying to catch my breath. We definitely took like 5 songs a break after that, but the worst part was that was my dance partner's last song that night, and we were like, yeah, just one more, and it turned out to be that one. So I'm glad you mentioned that though, because clearly you like what we do of, you know, trying to rebuild that honky tonk culture, but I love what you do as well with the Tejano side of it, because I am trying to retie our cultures back together because our history is tied together, yet it seems as though through the dark history of the South and the West and, you know, the 20th century, we seem to have separated and gone to our own places. And it's almost as though because we don't speak the same language that we feel as though we don't speak the same language in our dance and our music. And so I'm curious, outside of like the quality music that Ramona and the Holy Smokes releases, what do you see that we can be doing as a honky tonk dance community to really retie that, to bring in both styles of polkas, to bring in cumbias, to bring in I'm not even gonna try to pronounce other styles. I could spell them out, but I'm not going to. You know, all the vaquero type dancing in with also the country and western dancing. What do you see as our biggest obstacle to get us where we're going besides great music?
well, I think it's a question of feeling safe and welcome in spaces, you know, like, I mean, Texas is very different than Virginia or any place like further north in the South because it's like that integration is a little bit already built in, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Although not completely, of course, right? I think that like, I mean, I don't it's hard because like I feel like as somebody who is Latina but reads as white and plays to mostly white audiences, you know, I have this special privilege of being able to share mariachi, norteño, music with our audiences and kind of point out to them about the shared history because most people in this area don't even know about it. And then, I mean, it's kind of like I think that like the scene itself, and this is where Honky Tonk might be a little bit safer. I feel like as a bridging of the two than like mainstream country or pop country or whatever. Not that you would do dances at, we're talking about like bringing together dance cultures, right? But
Mhm.
like there is like the few times that I'm playing, and usually this is like at a restaurant or brewery or something. Not We don't have honky tonks here, but like when there are Latinos who show up at like a corn maze we play at, or like a peach orchard we play at, and they hear me sing in Spanish, they'll be like, "Oh my God!" They'll like pull out their phones. It's kind of like I notice people feel like, "Oh, this band is cool because they get it and they get us, and this is like a important part of our culture we never get to hear." And then like other people get to experience it, and I think it's like our band is not going to integrate these two musics in their dancing, but I think we're able to plant seeds like on both sides to like the Anglo audiences and be like, hey, this exists and this is important. And to the Latinos who come to our shows, which, like we do have Latino fans, of course, and it's not like there are no Latinos here in Virginia. It's just like I'm talking about strangers who like
Mhm.
accidentally stumble upon us and can be like, "Oh wow, like this band, which I guess she's Latino and our bass player who's Thai, they often think he's Mexican." And they're like, "Okay." And this like mostly gringo band is playing mariachi and doing it very well. And that makes, I don't know, I can't say what they feel, but I can tell in their eyes and their expression and like how they get excited about it that it is doing some kind of bridging.
Yeah, no, I
And
think y'all are doing a lot. Like, don't give yourself discredit on that of saying like y'all aren't doing it into the Tejano community, because I think just because you're not playing, oh my gosh, that style that keeps popping in my head. Is it Harapango?
bongo music,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like, and just that rhythm, you know what I'm saying? Just because we're not playing specifically that doesn't mean like they aren't listening to it and appreciating it. I think it's just about the exposure. And I think also what they're feeling is probably seen. And that's actually
Yeah.
why I call myself the last honky. It's not me taking credit for being like the purest guy that's just like, I am the standard. But I am going to try to keep a standard. And the standard for me is history. And I take the good with the bad, because we can only mourn as deeply as we can celebrate. And we can only celebrate as deeply as we mourn. And I feel like the dance floor is a perfect place to recognize a lot of bad stuff has happened, but we choose to be here together because our histories are tied together, and none of us would be here without each other. With the current climate, that's what I also think is wild to me, is in our current dance community, so many people try to preach about inclusion, but yet they don't think the culture matters. When I'm like, our culture is, I would argue, globally the richest, most diverse culture, because we have nearly every race that is in our culture, maybe not represented, but historically they are. So now it's about bringing them into the light now. And in our history, we purposely and systematically separated ourselves. So now we have to purposely and systematically regroup ourselves. And so when I call myself the last honky, I have people who kind of, I can tell when they know the history, because they'll have like a iffy response to me. Or when I say like keep honky tonks country, they're like, and I'm like, the fact that you responded that way, you're the exact person I want to talk to, because you understand the history. And I want to let you know, I say this because I want everyone to be a honky. You know, the first use of honky was white on white, and it became something else. But I would love the honky tonk to be the place that is that cultural hub that it should be, to welcome in everyone. And so to battle the current climate that we're in right now, we need to dance. We need to be playing music together. We need to be the most outlaw we can be in the simplest form. It's like, it's beautiful, it's art, right? And that's how we make that change that I see. And I didn't know if there's anything specific there that you saw outside of just music, but I feel like music is the root of it all. Music causes us to
I
dance.
mean, I could get more political about it, but if people didn't have to worry about being arrested going out to dance, that's another thing. So
Exactly. And that's my thing is I I would love to see those massive groups of folks becoming much like not much more, but rubbing shoulders much more than they already are. Because like you were saying, I think that's a huge deal as well. Is I feel like a lot of folks are finally learning the history, and my biggest issue is my biggest annoyance, and I'm about to have to make a video on it. It's like folks just learned that Hollywood kind of whitewashed us. And so every time we make a video about like rodeos, they're like, oh, well, that's Mexican. And I'm like, yes, you just learned that a lot of our culture comes from Mexico. Please stay with the conversation. Like, let's talk about deeper concepts then, because I understand with any change, there's going to be resistance, right? But the resistance shouldn't be a, well, it's ours. It's ours. And it's like, I'm trying to say it's ours. Like, we recognize this because in Texas, like you're saying, in Texas, everyone works alongside one another. Does that mean that it's perfect? Definitely not. Definitely not. However, when I go to the stockyards and we're dancing with folks, we have, yeah, we even have, yeah, I have Laos friends in my group. I have black cowboys in my group. I have vaqueros in my group, you know, like, and we don't ever have to talk about race because we all have, I'm not blue collar, but we all work blue collar. We all want to dance. We want to drink. We want to listen to good country music. And that's what it's about. Then naturally your lives tie together. It's just an excuse to see each other, you know? And that's why I'm so appreciative of you and the boys because you give us more of an excuse to question things, to try to learn more Spanish, you know, to try to seek deeper into the culture and understand more of where we came from as well, you know, with why we wear hats and why we wear boots and why we dress the way we dress and why are polkas not polkas because that came from Central Europe, but why polkas tie our two cultures together. You know, it's weird.
totally.
History is weird, but so many people look down on country folk. They think we're very uneducated. They think we're very uncultured and inexperienced and poor. Some of that is true, but to discredit people trying to tie us together, I think it's just a huge disservice, especially in this climate, to what could be happening right now. And I would love to see this renaissance pushing even city folks to the honky tonks. I would love to see dance be the reason that we come out of this stronger than we were before. And I'm super grateful to you and the boys for doing that, which is why I'm curious. I want to ask about Esta Herida. Okay, tell me the story about that. And how did it make its place on the album? What does it mean to you? And how did that come about?
So I have written 3 original Spanish songs. We perform a lot of covers when we play. Well, not a lot. Actually, I perform a lot as a solo performer, but in the band we do Vicente Fernandez and Pedro Infante covers, and we have a waltz that I wrote, Esta Herida that I wrote, and we have some more in the works. But Esta Herida I wrote as like a straight ahead mariachi song, like it was really slow. And I the way that I write songs, because I'm not fluent in Spanish, is I'll write and I'll send it to my friend Gabby, and she will be like, no, we wouldn't put it this way, let's put it this way. And then we'll be like, okay, well, the rhyme changed, so what else can we do? And we'll work on it together. And with her shaping of the song, it went from being like, I mean, she's Mexican, like 4th generation bruja, like hardcore Mexican woman, and she's like, my skin is like a flower of flesh, like, or my wound, this wound is a flower of, like, of, I'm, this wound is a flower of skin. I'm literally bleeding out because you've gone. And that is like classic mariachi, right? Like, she, for me, as someone who grew up speaking English, like, I'm scared to go there, you know, but she's not afraid to go there, and that's what the genre is like. And so when we then translated that the Spanish part into English, it was like, okay, like, what can we say? Like, we're not going to say like, this wound is a flower of skin. English audiences would be completely creeped out by it, and like totally understandably so. But like, how could we convey the same kind of like desperation, the same kind of like, I'm so in pain, I may die, you know, that mariachi has? And so I think this song is cool because it kind of introduces people to, and the song took on a more norteño, like Texas Tornadoes style arrangement with the accordion more so than mariachi.
Hmm.
But I think that the song, it's interesting because like for a while I was like, I don't know if I want it to be on the album because I that's not me. Like, I'm not this woman who's like please come home or I'm gonna die, like that's not typically the voice that I write in,
Hmm.
but I do love to perform those kinds of songs. And so it's cool to like try to do something like that. And the boys like really wanted it to be on the album, and Kyle, our guitar player, arranged it. And I think he did an amazing job. Brooks on pedal steel wrote some great parts for the song too. I mean, the whole thing just came together. And yeah, it's a bop. I'm really excited about it, and I think it's a cool way to introduce people to Mexitonk, which is something that the Squeezebox Bandits in Fort Worth came up with, and I have started to use it because I really want it to be a thing. And so,
I
yeah,
love that.
that's
So
the
for
story.
all of us gringos and no sabos, like that means this wound.
Yes, and I'm a no sabo too, like for real. Like I I can communicate in Spanglish. That's basically it. But yeah, so it's this wound, and it's like my love, like I adore you. You're the reason for my life. Like the Spanish lyrics are basically the same but with a little more gore. It's like, yeah, it's super emo, and basically it's about a man who's left this woman, and she's like, this wound that you gave me by deserting me is literally killing me.
And just so you know, in the future, if my opinion means anything, I would love though to hear the English translation be that deep, because country folk, we love sadness. And so you
That's
could
true.
completely change, like you could have impact and inspire others to go way deeper in that and completely change how we write certain things. So don't hesitate to go full force and clearly translate it, because I think they can handle it. And if they can't, it's one of those things. What do they say? If if art makes you uncomfortable, it's meant for you.
Ah, yeah, that's
You know what I'm
interesting.
saying? So like I like it. So just know, if you need any motivation to fully like cleanly translate it, I am 100% on board with that. I would love to be able to also, again, it'd be an easy way for me to learn Spanish, to be like, oh yeah, I know what that means, or I know what this means
Yeah,
because of this song, you know?
I wish it could work that way, but the thing is, you need it to rhyme, so you kind of have to
True.
take poetic license. Otherwise, like the English verses would like go on for way too long and not rhyme, and you'd be like, "Is this William Shatner? Like, I don't understand what's happening here."
I get that. I get that. Well, that's I'll give you a deep breath, because that's how deep I wanted to go. I wanted to get you to be able to talk about Tejano and the Mexican influences we have on country and Western culture. But I am curious, with the project out, all your PR work, I know you're really getting ramped up on that and having to do a lot, probably lacking a lot of sleep. Are
Uh,
your eyes still
oh,
focused on your feet? Or are you able to kind of look up and dream about new like collabs you'd like in the future, like dream collabs or concepts that you want to do in the future? I will say, I want to hear your opinion on that, but just know internally, I hate when you drop a new single and someone's already asking when the next one is. And I'm like, they put so much work into that, and now it feels as though you're not appreciating it. So like sit on it. So know that it's going to take a lot of me sitting on this album to fully appreciate. But for the sense of this interview, I'm asking that because I want people to know. And also you might be able to shout out some people that you want to work with. So again, how has that been right now? The energy that's coming from this, and also, are you able to look up for dream collabs and concepts that you'd like to do?
for sure. Well, now that the album is out, we've turned a little bit of a corner in terms of like, now my focus is on trying to promote the album on socials. I'm teaching
Mhm.
myself meta ads. So gonna try to get, if you see an ad, click on it, get people just the Spotify and new people listening, and to try to keep those numbers up and like continue to ride this wave of good press and momentum, that
Mm.
we had. And we've been super fortunate that all of the people that we've been cultivating relationships with over the years, like Donnie and radio DJs around the country, are playing our songs and our album. So yeah, so just mostly that. I'm trying to post on TikTok. It's a whole thing. I was good about it for like 2 weeks, and then I've had like 5 days off, and I'm like,
Yeah, you don't even have to tell me. I hate social media. Like as soon as I can make somewhat of enough to be able to pay someone, I'm like, just get this away from me. I don't want to be here anymore.
It's so much work. It really is. Then yeah, I mean like we are not like our busy season is over for the most part, but we are playing a show in December here in Central Virginia with two shows with Hannah Juanita and Mose Wilson, which is really exciting. And we both, all of us love both of those artists and really look up to them. And yeah, I think like we're gonna promote this album for a year and I'm gonna see just what I can do on my own in terms of the internet for a while. And what was I gonna say? Oh, and then Dream Collabs, like I would love it and the whole band would love it. Like I think the next level for us as a band is to open for like a bigger deal country act, of course. And some people we would be like delighted and honored to open for would be like Emily Nenny or Jesse Daniel. We both, oh, I keep saying that. We have all seen both of those bands play and been completely blown away by the musicianship and the work ethic. And they're
Mm-hmm.
also just like such nice people. And I think either of those bills would be dream bills for us. Yeah. So thank you for asking me that. And then otherwise, just like we'll be around playing as much as we can. And then in May, we're going to head back down to Texas probably. So.
Come on, come on. We'll look forward to hosting you here. Yeah, I think being in the Appalachian area, I think too, like y'all would be a great mix. Not the same music, but I think the same crowd as even people like Benjamin Todd and Sierra Farrell. Like I think
I
those
mean,
crowds would eat you up. Those
you
crowds
can't.
would be like, "What is this? We
John
love it."
Carter, if we get open for Sierra Farrell, like, I mean,
Who wouldn't want to open for her? You would have to start saving up though your budget, her costume budget.
no, our wardrobe, we'd have to definitely get a new pearl snap for that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you'd have to come up with something. I have no doubt though, y'all would kill it though with not only your appearance but the sound. But yeah, speaking of those shows, again, I want to respect your time and the folks listening. And so I'd love to just hand the mic over to you. You were talking about some shows. You said December and May. Where are they at? Like anything else when it comes to like you were saying, so socials, make sure we're sharing those. Where can they find you on the socials? Tell us more about those shows. Anything else? If you want to give a shout out, the mic is yours to talk directly to these folks.
Well, you can find all of our shows at ramonaandtheholysmokes.com. I have been in the past sending out a newsletter monthly, just being like, here's where we're playing this month. So if you go to our website and put your email address in at the bottom of the homepage, you'll get those and you'll know when we're coming. We have a bands in town too, which you can sign up for, and it will send you concert alerts. You can find us everywhere at Ramona and the Holy Smokes. That's Ramona. You'd be surprised how many people spell that wrong. And yeah, the shows here in Central Virginia is going to be December 12th at Gallery 5 in Richmond with us, Hannah and Mose. And then the next day in Charlottesville at the Southern, the same bill. There'll be two-step lessons at both shows. We try to do that here as much as we can. We're hoping to do a regular Honky Tonk night in Richmond with dance lessons once a month this next year. So we're really trying to work to build a scene. And that's pretty much it. I guess I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported us on Instagram over the years and wherever you're listening to us from. We could not have done this without you. The album would not have been made without y'all support, like both financially and just with your attention and your hearts and minds. Thank you. And the boys unfortunately do not get to be part of this interview process so much, but I just want to say I love you, Chicos, and I'm gonna see you in an hour and a half when we pack all of our Kickstarter rewards together. This will air long after that has happened, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll get this in about 3 weeks. Yeah, yeah. But I wanted to make sure we got time with you because I know you're busy right now, and I wanted to make sure to get in. So I appreciate that time. I also, everyone who knows me that preaches about sincerity, that is full credit to Ramona, and I don't know if that's credit to someone else, but
Hank
in the end,
Williams.
there we go, there we go. But I think you do so well in that too place sincerity over authenticity. I don't think it matters if you don't speak Spanish or you weren't raised on a farm or your hat isn't, have any cattle with it. I think you have such a sincere heart for what you're doing, and I appreciate it all. Again, I think from my opinion, keep pushing into it. Like be radical and be the artist that people need to hear, not always that they want to hear. Give them what they need. And so just keep doing what you're doing. And to our listeners, keep honky tonkin', keep honky tonks country. We'll see you on the next episode.